Lindsay is not here. Sorry, Lindsay, you've got to do this. You've got to get the notes this way. There is something that I want to do with you that is, you may not think, you might be thinking, Mr. Beavers, this is just more of that psychology crap that you're trying to force on us, and this is not a psychology class, and I hate psychology, but that's not really what I'm trying to do here. If you go to college, they will give you personality tests out the yin yang. Why would they give you that? Because they want to see where you fit. They want to see how you will work together with your teammates. But most importantly, maybe, when you get a job, there are so many organizations out there that give you personality tests. Not only do they want you to find out about yourself, but they also want to see what your strengths and weaknesses are so that you can be the best employee and they can put you with people that will work well with you. Like this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like it's not even funny. Hopefully you'll like it, right? But it's something that they really pushed in the last decade. Question.
After I finish the psychology test, they will immediately send me to the psych ward.
I don't think they would. Because you are a functioning human being.
Yeah.
Psych ward is for people who cannot function. Okay? So here's the deal. See this? See that? See these notes? You see the notes, Lindsay? See those notes right there? These are also worth points. Please fill them out. I don't do this with you very often in this class. But yeah, fill them out when they get up here. So let me just give you, this is like a short history of psychology, personality tests. Originally, we only had, in the United States, and we're going back about 50 years now, we had two personality types. We had type A and we had type B. This is what they said type A was like in the 1970s when they first started coming out with personality tests. They wanted to know, can we predict who is going to have a heart attack and who is not? Right there.
I spelled this wrong.
They wanted to see, because, Americans are overweight. Americans have obesity-related diseases like diabetes, like type 2, like heart attacks. They wanted to see, can we predict who is going to have heart attacks, who is going to have heart problems later on in life, and link it to their personality types. And so the original personality tests predicted that people with type A personality who are going to have heart attacks would be overly competitive. Now, this isn't just like, I want to win. This is like, I want to win! And I'm going to step on your neck until you lose. Obviously, there's nobody on the Browns team that has this kind of personality type, right? Because they don't win. I'm just joking. Right? Overly competitive. Yep.
Oh, did you know that tumors can grow teeth?
Don't get me off track. Supporting this. Aggressive desire to achieve. Now, some of you really want to be like successful, right? This is like, I'm going to be so like, I want to achieve something so much that I will hide books in the library so other people can't get them, only me. Okay. I will crash your computer so that you can't get an A on the test so that I, and I will. Right? That kind of stuff. That you were hostile when you're frustrated. Hostile when frustrated. Meaning, if you get frustrated, then you get really mean.
Yes.
Habitual sense of time urgency. Got to be on time. I've got to be on time. If I'm not on time, I'm do you see why these combinations of personality types might have made them think that that kind of person could have a heart attack someday. That sounds like a stressed out person, right? And that is not what I wanted to do. And a person with type A personality in the 1970s was not the person who was quiet, talked very soft, right? But they had a fast and loud and explosive way of talking. It's just like George Costanza on Seinfeld. Oh wait, that doesn't work because none of you have seen Seinfeld.
I've seen a couple episodes.
You've seen a couple. Do you know what I'm talking about? I say George and rapid, explosive way of speaking.
I seen the episode where they lose those golf clubs.
Yes, that's a great one, right? And a workaholic, which means that work is the only thing that matters to you. Can you see why a person like this might have heart disease? Well, that's what they predicted in the 1970s. They said in the 1970s that research is showing us that you're 2 to 3 more times likely to have a heart attack. And again, all of these, by definition, is what they would call type A personality. Type B was, the exact opposite. The easygoing, relaxed, laid back, patient, calm person. Does it make sense in theory that these types of personality traits, the person would be less likely to have a heart attack? That makes sense, doesn't it? Well, here's the problem. In the 80s, they started seeing, well, our data doesn't actually show this. It actually is starting to show us that type A, the heart disease personality type, is something maybe different. And so they came up with a new definition. They said depression is a part of type A, which means depression can be linked with heart disease. Now, they kept that aggressively competitive part. They dropped hostile when frustrated, and they just put easily frustrated. They had anxiety, constantly being angry, and a lot of times depression and anxiety go together because they're basically both given the same types of medication, right, to help them out. Does it make sense that a person who has these might be more likely to have a heart attack than this? Maybe. But then in the 90s, they found out, well, all these things, that doesn't really heart attacks like we thought it would. And so, after more, that you might have angry or hostile emotions, but you like, a lot of times you bottle it up. Or maybe sometimes you let it out. Especially for men. If men don't show their emotions, then they're more likely to have a heart attack. But you see, the thing is, here's where this goes south. This is why we don't talk about type A, type B personality anymore, because it's too simplistic. Only having 2 personality types is just too. That's not enough, right? So we have gone away from this kind of dichotomy, this kind of polarization of personality types. Get it? Aggressive desire to be competitive and win and so on. Climbs a mountain just because it's there. Sits and relaxes just because it's there. Right? And instead, what we have now, one of the most famous, I'm going to go over 2 with you. And these are used quite often. This is called either the Keirsey temperament disorder or the Meyers-Briggs. Have you heard of the Meyers-Briggs? Some of you have. By the end of this class period, you're going to narrow yourself down to 4 letters. And tomorrow we're going to see if you're going to take a test and see what type you are.
This Paula talks about this on the last softball.
But then, if everything goes according to plan, my wife will come in, and she'll teach you about the Enneagram. And she is much more interesting than I am. She's also much more attractive than I am, too, so that should help you out. So, having said that, we're going to look at introversion versus extroversion. What is that, Mr. Beavers? I'm not going to tell you yet. Just wait. The big key, and I might even, you know what? I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna rephrase it with this right here. Where do you like to focus your attention? Is it on the inner world inside you, or the outer world outside of you? Maybe a better way to put it is in the underlined part right there. Where do you get your energy from? Here or here?
Wait, where do we put that? Is that on the next one?
So this right here, you don't have to write.
Oh.
I wrote that for myself more than anything else to try to help me make sure I explain it correctly so I don't forget. Yeah.
Why do we shorten it all the way to just B as well as just BS process? It makes no sense.
It's a good question.
Why don't you do some research on that and let us know?
Then you're going to find out if you're a sensor or a intuitive person. Are you sensing or intuitive? Maybe the better way, this is what I put originally, how do you acquire information or perceive it? Maybe a better way to say it is, how do you like to have things proven to you? If I want to convince you of something, what do I have to do to convince you? What's it going to take to convince you? Are you a thinker or a feeler? When you're making decisions, what's the most important thing to you, your thoughts or your feelings? And I'll try to get into that in a little bit. And then judgment versus perception. And we'll get to this in just a minute, but I don't want you to think about judgment as in like, you're judging someone like for their behavior, if what they're doing is right or wrong. It's not correct. This is closer to the type A, type B personality. So essentially what they've done in a nutshell is taken type A, type B, tagged it on the very end of this, and then they widened personality to be a whole bunch of other things. Now, just so you know where we're going, in a few minutes, you're going to decide, am I an E or am I an I? Extrovert, introvert. Then you're going to figure out, am I an S or am I an N? Sensor, intuitive. Then you're going to figure out, am I a T, thinker, or F, feeler? And then am I a judger or am I a perceiver? You're going to be some combination of these 8 letters. Okay, so let's go. Introvert versus extrovert, which one are you? The E letter focuses on the outer world, meaning not like the outside environment and nature, but other people. You get your energy from other people. If you're an extrovert, you might like to communicate by talking, not writing. Maybe you prefer to speak to someone instead of send them a text message. Maybe a video message instead of an email. You need to experience the world in order to understand it. So an extrovert tends to like to do, to take action.
I didn't know there were notes. I thought you were just telling us.
Oh, but yeah, no, these are everything that's underlined on here needs to be written down.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't looking at my paper at the time. I was just looking at the board.
And some of you might be thinking, yes, this is me. And some of you might be like, I don't understand what you're talking about, Mr. Beavers. And just wait. Just give me a minute.
Part of it seems like me, and then the other part, I definitely don't do that.
Well, let's see if this is more you. If you're an introvert, Most people think that introvert means shy, and that's not what it means. You can be a shy introvert, you can be a shy extrovert. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are shy. It just means you get your energy from here, not from other people, but from yourself. Now, if that doesn't make sense, just wait. You're more interested in activity that takes quiet thought and contemplation and reflection. You are more comfortable with activity that takes quiet thought, inner thinking, quiet reflection. The extrovert's the opposite. They want to be outgoing, do stuff, and this person wants to. Again, it's not necessarily shy, but instead of acting, you want to understand first, then act. Whereas an extrovert might want to do first and then understand later in order, or maybe acting actually helps you understand. And right now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to think, which one sounds more like me? And if you don't know yet, then how about this? This will probably be the best way to help you figure out if you're an E or an I. After a party, when you're around a lot of people, and think of a party where people you know and maybe a party of people you don't know, whatever, right? There's a mix, right? After a party, do you feel more energized? If you feel like you have more energy when you're at a party, then you're probably an E. If you feel drained, like you want to escape and get away from people for a while after a party, then you're probably an I. Now, nobody is 100% this or 100% that. So what I'm asking you to do right now is, which one do you tend to lean towards most? Now, when you think of what it is, go on the very back. It says, before you take the survey, what personality type do you think you are? Write an E or an I. Which one do you think you are most? Yeah.
Usually when I take the personality test, it says I'm an INTJ.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? At least the I part.
Yeah.
Okay, then go ahead and put the I on the back here. Because we're going to predict now. Okay. Everybody good? Do you have any questions about E versus I? No, you're not going to be experts in it. I'm not an expert in it either, but at least you have some kind of sense. S versus N, sensing versus intuition. Sensors find out about the world through the 5 senses: touch, taste, feel, smell, seeing. You need to have information proven to you through the senses. Maybe you are an investigator, and in order for somebody to prove to you that somebody committed a crime, they have to give you DNA evidence. Now, don't take this next one too literally. When it says person of science, not faith, I don't mean that a person who's an S is really good at science and are not religious. I don't mean that at all. What I mean by that is you don't go with your gut. That's a person of faith in this case. You go with the facts. If in order for somebody to convince you, they're going to have to list it out for you. You look at the details. You like the smaller picture stuff. You like to get down and study all the minutiae so that you can have as much information as possible to help you understand as much as possible. You like to think inside the box. You like to be realistic and practical. You don't like to be imaginative and creative and all that kind of stuff. And you kind of look at people who are not this, and you're like, these people are a little bit silly. And why can't they take things more seriously? If you are good with remembering a lot of facts, with working with a lot of facts, then you might be an S. If you think that's you, just wait. Do you have any questions about what an S is, what a sensor is? Okay, then N. Now, obviously, it starts with the letter I, but we've already got one I, so we just go to the next letter, N. If you are intuitive,
Well, you really picked a great answer
Yeah.
for this.
where is it? Where is it? Come on. Oh, I don't have any sound effects? Are you sure? All right, maybe I don't. So, if you are an N and somebody tries to say, look, I got all these facts and figures and dates and all these statistics and blah, 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 and I'm going to talk your ear off about the details. And if I want to set a course for going to, another state, and here's all the terms and exits that we have to make and so on. Like, if you have somebody like that, an N would say, that's awful. You got to go beyond that. So, like, you're an S person might say, look at the tiny details. No, the N says no. Look at the big picture. Facts aren't as important as like the big overall. I don't know if you know what intuition is, but it's kind of like you just have a gut feeling that you know what's right. And you don't know why, and you're not going to have all these lists of facts and like a T chart. There's a plus and minus, right? Instead, you just feel the truth in your guts. You just know it in your head, and you maybe even can't say why. You're imaginative. You want to be inspired, and maybe you hope to inspire people. So in this sense, you're a person of faith, not science. And again, I don't mean that you're religious. I only believe in the Bible and not evolution kind of person. I don't mean that. I just mean I just take things on what I feel is best, and you don't have to give me all the proof. If you like to think outside the box and see new possibilities and new ways of doing things, then you might be in the end. So now, do you know what you are? An S or an N? If you don't, if you know already if you're an S or an N, then just flip on the back and put it right next to the E or the I. But if you don't yet, then here's a way to tell. Look at this picture. If I ask you, what is this picture about? And you start telling me, oh, well, there's a dog here that's sitting on the ground, and this one is about ready to, there's another dog right here that's running or something, and this person, this lady has like a really big wisdom. But, right, and it's not her butt, it's actually one of those little cage things. Right?
Cage.
And I can count 1, 2, 3 umbrellas, 4 umbrellas, Mr. Beavers, and I see us. One sailboat and one canoe, and you want to tell me the details, then you are an S.
Are you sure which S is the person?
Yes. Yes. This is the buttocks. This is the hawk right here, and that's not. They were cages in the back.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
They had junk in the trunk. That's what they. But if you want to tell me a story here instead, if you want to tell me a story, well, that's different. That makes you more this. If you want to look at the whole picture and try to make sense of it by not the details, then you might be at him. Does that help you? Ish?
I think I could go either way.
I
on
think I
this.
could too.
Okay, then on the back, write S/N. If you're 50-50, that's
I think I'm more
100%
of an
fine.
S, but
Trust me, I have scored 50-50 this and this on the same test.
see, I think I could too.
I'll let you go to Russian in a minute, but we got to finish this first. Thinking versus feeling, P versus F. Are you a thinker?
So
I need to use those.
There's supposed to be sound effects. I promise.
are you sure your volume on the computer's turned up?
Yeah, well, it's turned up.
Yeah, why don't you just make the sound effects as the thing does?
Yeah, you make the sound effect.
Pew! 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 I can't do this. It was lasers. It was supposed to, like that last one was supposed to be a coin sound every time a letter fell. That was supposed to be a laser sound every time a letter came out. Thinking versus feeling. When you're making decisions about something in life, do you try to do a logical thought process? I mean, this is definitely a person, like, I don't know if you ever watched The Office. Jim on The Office always did a pro-con chart, right? And he would do a blip, 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 and he would do all that, like this. That's a T, right? Michael Scott, if you watch The Office, he never ever did anything like that. He thought that was gross, and so he went with how he felt about something. He was in that.
Oh yeah, on the when episode you showed us.
Yep.
He was overdoing stuff.
Yep. If you're a T, you like to weigh cause and effects. You like to analyze and weigh evidence. So in some ways it might seem like S and T go together, but you can actually be a sensor and a feeler too. It's complicated. Let me just try to see if I can basic understanding. You want to look at the world kind of in black and white. Like what is right, what is wrong? What's a good choice and what's a bad choice? And if I have more pros than cons, then it's a good choice. And I have more cons than pros, then it's a bad choice. You see what I'm saying? See, and here, how is it supposed to go? It was supposed to get faster as it went. See that the it's working. So what's the deal?
Well, I don't think you added them to this.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe you forgot to add them.
No, they're there.
Or maybe you put it on a certain button input.
You watch. Look, laser. It's right there. It's all right. I don't know where it would be. Screen. I got nothing. Okay. Or are you an F, a feeler? Making decisions not based on a pro-con chart, but looking at the values, what you value most, what is most important in life. You'll look at people who like to think logically and make pro-con charts and say like that doesn't make any sense because what if you have like pro, I'll make more money, and pro, I'll make more money, and just like all these things, but then over here one of the cons is somebody's gonna die.
Oh,
There's only one con, and it's going to be somebody's going to die. But look at all these pros. See,
that means who's dying. If
Right.
that person's dying.
Oh, David.
No.
This person right here is going to say, I value life more than I value money. And so it doesn't matter how many pros there are. When I see that, I'm not. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's like you have a button, and each time you press it, you get $1,000,000, but someone random dies. You know?
Yeah, kind of.
That kind
What if you were the random person that died?
we just point a bunch of zeros, 1% goes to 7.5 trillion.
A bunch of zeros, 1%.
Anyways,
But where this is concerned is the fact that somebody might die might be more important to you than all of the pros, all of the things that are positive about it. It's what your values are, where your values are. Like to deal with people, not just facts. You might be a little bit more sympathetic. And I want you to understand that if you say that you're an F, it doesn't mean you're touchy-feely, because you can be a touchy-feely thinker. It doesn't mean that you're an emotional person. It's more about what do you value, do you have values instead of logic. So if that doesn't help, and maybe you know that you're a T or an F right now, but how about this? This might help. A woman stole some very expensive medicine from a local drugstore and she got caught. She's a single mother pregnant with her second child. Now, if you're a person who says, let's look at the law, what's the law say? And let's see, what's the value of the things that she stole? And, what's the maximum that we could give her in prison? And what's the minimum we could give her in prison? And what she actually caught, what does the video footage say? Like, if you are going through all of that, then you're probably a T. And if you're thinking, well, I value a person's being able to make ends meet better than I care about what the law says, all these little tiny little like exceptions to the law and parts of the law, then you might be here.
no,
Wait.
awesome.
So you have enough information right now to be able to figure out if you're a T or an F. Okay, then go on the back, go up here, and next to your SN, put T or F. Which one do you predict you are? On the back. On the back. Very back.
Can I sit right here?
Sure. If you are trying to divorce yourself from how it's going to affect this woman's life, then you might be a T. And if you're worried about how it's going to affect her life, then you might be an F. By the way, which one do you think I am?
F.
I'm big time T. Like I'm 80% T. Like that's like it's strange. Like you're not supposed to be that much of something. I'm like 90%. I think since kids I've probably gotten a little bit more F. I have to retake it. Maybe I'll retake it tomorrow. The last here, J versus P. If you are a judger, it doesn't mean that you're judgmental. I don't know why they use these names. It's not my system. You like to live in a planned, orderly way. You want to regulate life. You want to control life. You want to try to be as much in control as possible. You want to make a decision. Like, it doesn't really matter as much what the decision is. It matters that the decision is made. You can't stand uncertainty and not having the decision made. Right? You come to closure with it, you come to peace with the decision, and then you move on with life. If you want things settled, then you're probably a J. And again, it's not related to being judgmental of other people. Okay? And please don't ask me why they use the word judgment. I don't know. Maybe it's because when a judge gives a ruling in court, bangs that gavel, the decision is made, it's over, it's final. Maybe. A P, perceiver, is more like that type B personality that we were talking about earlier. You don't want to have a unflexible structured, everything is planned down to the minute life, you would rather be more flexible and spontaneous. Like, you hate it when people say, mark your calendar for 2 weeks from now because we're going to do this on this date. You might think, well, what if something comes up that's really cool that I want to do instead? A P would be like, well, let me keep my options open. And that might even be oh yeah, that's the next one. I want to keep my options open. I don't want to control life. I want to understand it, and sometimes you don't understand things without kind of going with the flow. You're open to new experiences. You're willing to adapt. Whereas a J, no, you don't adapt. The situation adapts to me. That's a J.
Like used to the norm.
What's that?
Or used to the norm.
Yeah, or maybe even like I want to be the one to create. Now, if you don't know yet which one you are, a J or a P, think about going on vacation. Are you the type of person that wants to plan everything out down to maybe even the minute? Then you're a J. If you are a person who's like, well, let's get in the car, maybe throw a couple things in the suitcase. Hopefully there's some underwear in there, and then let's just go and see what happens. If that's you, you're a P. If what I just said, let's just throw stuff in the suitcase and see what happens. If that freaks you out and scares you, and stresses you out, then you're probably this. Now, can you go on the back and write down if you're a J or a P? Okay. Out of curiosity, which one do you think I am? Do I get my energy from people, or do I get my energy from being by myself? Do you think I go home at the end of the day so excited because I got to spend the whole day with students and pouring into their lives and minds and talking and listening and just being with people? Does that seem like me?
Yes.
No. You all, not you.
I mean, I said
Not you, just this.
Yeah.
It drains me. Like, I want to take a nap every day when I get home. Every day. And it's not, I'm not like not a people person, but I just need to kind of be by myself when I get home. And that's rough for me because I have kids. And they the whole time, right? Oh, no. Okay. So now, what do you think I am here? I usually go there. How about these two?
J.
Some of you may not think that I would be a J because I'm much more relaxed in this class. But yeah. So that's your prediction. We're going to see tomorrow that's.
I feel like we have the same possibility tonight.
That's your prediction. Let's see what you are tomorrow. All right, Zach. Good. That's your prediction. All right, Joe. That's your prediction. I need that permission slip tomorrow. Wait, what's your question? You don't have J or. Oh, let's go up there. Right up there.
Okay, Taylor's turning for a second.
Oh, are you gonna do it? Okay, I can see this. As long as you come back before the bell rings, and you gotta leave me your phone here, and you gotta sign out on the thing, like or that. You got that, Lindsay? Well, then wait for the bell. Did you sign out, or are you just waiting?